Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is January 27th, 12 p.m. Actually, good afternoon, I guess, not good morning. And we are here today on a Saturday, replacing what you used to watch when you were a kid. Saturday morning, turn on the cartoons, have some popcorn and some Fruity Loops, enjoy the breakfast. Well, this is a replacement of that. We are here to talk stonks. We are here to talk money. We are here to talk markets. We are here to talk Tesla. So thank you for your attention on this Saturday morning. The guest I have with me today, who's going to be replacing your Saturday morning cartoons from many years ago, is a guest who I talked to a few months ago, back in July. That was our first time getting to know each other. He asked me a lot about Palantir. I asked him about Tesla. And since then, this guy's been hustling. Okay, this guy's been growing on social media. This guy's been building his brand. This guy's been buying a lot of Tesla. And this guy, to me, has become a resource to the Tesla community to go to for not only news and information, but they value his opinion, given how good of a job he's done at actually communicating his perspectives on one of the most eclectic and interesting companies in the world, which is Tesla. Ladies and gentlemen, internationally, I have with me Curious Peggy.
Let's go. What's happening, everyone? What up? What up? Smash that like button. Because if you ain't smashing that like button, then I don't know what y'all are doing, man. Come on, man. What's going on, Amit? Thanks for having me on.
Dude, thank you for being here. Let me ask you a quick question. Why do you always say let's go so much?
I don't know, man. It's just full of energetic, and man, you gotta go. You gotta hustle up, man. You gotta let's go. I don't know. I guess I'm just a guy that's full of energy. So every time when you're about to do something, when I say let's go, it gives you that little oomph to go for it, So I guess that's why I said a lot. And I said a lot during work as well, my day job as well. Like, let's go, it just brings a lot of energy.
That's why I'm very attracted to you and your brand, dude. Like I love following your tweets. I love keeping up with you. Like you're such a cool content creator to me. And honestly, like when it comes to like Twitter and me actually following people and stuff, because I'm creating so much content, you know what it is about content. It's hard to like, follow other people and their stuff.
Yeah.
But with you, I like seeing your tweets. I like seeing your content. I like seeing your perspectives. I know there's a lot of big people in the Tesla community, and obviously you're not the biggest, but you're one of the guys that I actually look to for like a real source of news. So I'm really, really happy.
Man. Thanks, man.
That you're
likewise with you with Palantir. I'm not gonna lie.
I love it. All right, so Tesla had earnings, right? Q4 earnings. Let's just start off with this. What were your high-level thoughts about Q4 earnings? And then we'll get into all the deep nitty-gritty stuff about what happened on the call.
Sure. So earnings, the only thing that really surprised the hell out of me was the amount of free cash flow that they had. I'm sitting there, like I was like doing the live for the first time. And I'm sitting there and I'm just staring at this number and I'm just like, you're telling me that Tesla continues to cut prices, continues to lower their prices, and continues to do it. Like they just don't stop. They just do it. And then they come out with a massive cash flow like that. And I'm just sitting there and I'm just like, if this
did you expect it to be 4 billion? Did you expect that?
No, I did not. I was expecting that to be half at most. And I was just shocked to see that number. And I'm just like, this is unbelievable. If this was any other car company, which Tesla isn't, but if it was any other car company, they would have gone bankrupt.
Yeah.
So I'm just like sitting here, and that was the only thing that made me go like that I didn't expect. That was such a surprise to me. And I'm just like, bruh, how? So that was the biggest takeaway in Q4 earnings throughout the entire. I was hoping energy to be the biggest surprise, but it wasn't. Right. But the free cash flow, man, that took me by surprise. Big surprise.
Okay, so revenue came in at 25 billion. They missed on revenue, they missed on EPS, they missed on margins in terms of the street expectations. But your argument is from a pure financial look at it. Free cash flow was amazing. They have about, I think, 29 billion in cash. And even though margins, even though they continue to cut prices and they increase margins sequentially, but not against Wall Street's expectations, to you, it wasn't a bad quarter, even if the stock fell 15%.
Yeah, I think this quarter was actually, the numbers were actually pretty good. What this quarter told me, what it spoke to me is that we've bottomed in margins, we've bottomed in vehicle gross profits, we've pretty much secured free cash flow. I mean, even if Tesla doesn't sell a single thing for the next 2-3 years, they're still going to be around, which is like
Right.
absolutely mind-boggling.
Right.
And for me, the reason why the stock went down, it wasn't because they missed earnings. It did go down for about 2-3%. It's like what happens in the earnings call that went down really bad. And pretty much what happened in the earnings call, and the reason why it went down like 12% is because the team, the Tesla team, pretty much gave a big middle finger to Wall Street, not giving any guidance, not giving any auto margins, not giving anything to them.
How did you feel about them not giving vehicle guidance or margin guidance, but they did have the sentence that said our vehicle growth rate will be notably lower than it was in 2023?
So my initial reaction was like, okay, everybody was expecting to see what the vehicle deliveries will be in 2024, but they didn't give any. And I think I know why, because they mentioned the vehicle expectations for 2023 in Q1, not in Q4 of 2022 of last year. So maybe we'll get it in Q1. So I don't know. So that's what I realized. Okay, so maybe in Q1 they will do it. For auto margins, I think when they didn't mention that, I'm just like, okay, maybe they do want to continue to cut prices, but at the same time, they're saying that their delivery rate is going to be notably delivery rate. So it's still going to be a record in 2024, but it's
Right.
going to be less in 2023. So if 2022 to 2023 was 38% growth, then maybe we'll see 15 to 20% growth in 2024 this year. I mean, it's still going to be a record, but that means if they're not going to be aiming for a high volume, maybe they won't be doing that many price cuts.
Correct.
So
Correct.
I think, and there's a lot of fuck going out that they don't even know what the percentage is and stuff. And that could be true because, again, it's too early for them to see what 2024 is. But I think what they're actually doing is not giving any expectations to Wall Street so they can keep them accountable to it.
Right.
Especially when they're trying to get the compact car ready to go for 2025, which that's going to be like massive scale and all that kind of stuff. So overall, the earnings call, it was, I mean, the same as usual. It wasn't anything interesting. I really don't like for speaking. The CFO is not really good when he speaks. I don't know, something with this guy. The way he communicates, it's like come on, man. Like somebody asked him a question. And then he's like, I already discussed this earlier. So, okay, that's fine. But, you know, you have to say it like that.
Say it like that, yeah. Okay, I have a bunch of questions to keep going deeper into earnings. But before that, because people don't really know you, Tesla is your only stock, if I'm correct from our last conversation. And
99% of my entire stock portfolio is Tesla.
And that, I think 1% is what, Palantir?
So, yeah, the 0.1% is Palantir with SoFi.
Okay.
The bigger chunk of that is Amazon.
Okay.
And some ETFs that I'm looking to sell.
Okay, cool. So why is Tesla the only stock you own?
Because it's the greatest opportunity that we're going to see in the next decade or so. Here's the thing. A lot of people ask me why I'm going all into Tesla stock. Okay. And this is a rabbit hole for me. But to put it in a nutshell, I guess, to put it in bullet points. Bullet point number one, the myth, the legend, the one, Elon Musk. This guy is an innovator. He is a risk taker. This man is probably the worst person you want to short or bet against. I mean, that is a fact right now.
Right.
Someone like Elon Musk in a company that's innovating and trying to bring things up to next level. The flipping guy can bring usable rockets back to flipping Earth. Yeah. The guy freaking solves crazy. EVs. The guy is trying to solve full self-driving and the bot. You want to go against this guy? I mean, it's never a good idea to go against Tesla. I mean, or even Elon Musk. So I don't think there's any other CEO right now at the moment is working as hard as this man is. I don't think there is. I mean, you could throw any name you want. I don't think he's even working as hard as this guy is. And so for me, having my money in a company with a guy like that, with a guy like with a brain and genius like Elon Musk, thinking long term and just executing. The guy sold all his possessions, his mansions, to go live in a freaking box next to SpaceX launch site. Like, for this guy, money is not a thing. I know a lot of people on X are saying that, oh, he's greedy because he's asking for 25% or whatever it is. No, it's not about the money. It's voting power. And he said it in the earnings that he preferred to be a dual class stock, which gives him no more stock. It just gives him more power to do it. So he's not greedy. He wants to do good for humanity. He's a risk taker and he's an innovator. Why do you want to bet against this guy? So number one, Elon Musk, 100%. That's one of the main reasons why I'm all in. Now, a lot of people are also saying that this guy is no longer looking at Tesla anymore. He's, too occupied with
Twitter,
his
he's
other
obsessed with other
companies,
stuff, right?
X and Twitter. But then 5 years ago, 4 years ago, this was the exact same thing. He had Neuralink, he had SpaceX, Boring Company, all that. That wasn't mentioned there. And all of a sudden he got Twitter. Now this is all coming up, right? Something's fishy about that. As well as 5 years ago, 6 years ago, yes, that Elon Musk had to be in Tesla in order for it not to go bankrupt. The guy was sleeping in the factory,
Right.
trying to make it work. Now he's got over 140,000 employees, managers, and directors moving the company, and he's not needed as much to be there.
Right.
So, yeah, FSC on bot, he needs to be there, but he doesn't need to be there every day. And he is working there. So the fact that there's all this FUD around Elon and Tesla, it's all noise, it's all that. So Elon Musk is the number one.
No, that makes sense. I think those are two good bullet points. Number one, you're betting on Elon, and number two, you're betting on the thesis that this is one of the most generational opportunities in the world in the context of the actual company.
100%.
Okay, let's get deeper into some of the actual earnings points. So next generation vehicle, talk to me about that. Elon said that maybe by mid 2025 that would ramp up. Do you think he's sandbagging? Do you think that's too early? That maybe it's going to take till 2027? And do you think Wall Street will really start appreciating Tesla when they can compete against the Honda Civics and Corollas of the world? And until they do you think the stock's kind of dead money?
Okay, so that is an awesome question. So 25,000 vehicle, I do have a high expectation it's going to come out sometime at the second half of 2025. Because if you look at the Reuters report, this was based on what Tesla was communicating to other suppliers of what volume was. So this is an indicator that this is happening in 2025. And it's not going to be how it's going to come out. It's not going to be like product reveal that, hey guys, we have this coming in. Sora Merritt made a good point. He said that it's going to be a configurator and it's going to be 4 weeks order and it'll just come. So this way it can stop all the cannibalism if there is any cannibalism. For 2020, for the second question part was if Tesla stock is dead money.
Do you think? Yeah, right.
So I would say, and I've been saying this since later of 2023, is that this for 2024 is going to be a recovery year for Tesla. So in other words, it's going to be a flat year for Tesla. It could be a dead money because it's flat. It's not going to go up. It's going to go down. Maybe it'll actually go lower. Right. For Tesla, because vehicle deliveries are going to be similarly just a little bit higher than 2023. Energy will continue to grow. I think that'll really help out the revenues and profits. But overall, for the entire 2024, I think my price target is 350 for 2024, and that's still considered flat because the high was 414.
Right.
So I do think 2024 is going to be a flat year. Going to 2025 at the second half of it, when we do have the compact car coming out with the prices and all that kind of stuff, I think Wall Street will start to put it in their valuation once, obviously, we have the number of orders that's going to come through, which I think is going to be absolutely massive, and as well as what the prices and what the cost is going to be, kind of like what it is with the Cybertruck. So I do think this will impact. This will give Tesla more TAM. So this will give Wall Street more, you could say, a higher hand when it comes to evaluating Tesla stock. But that's not where Tesla is going to jump up 10x, 20x, 15x. That's not where Tesla's going to jump that. It's going to be the AI products, the full self-driving.
Okay, so we'll talk about that in a second. Scott, thank you for watching from Twitter. He says, hello from Utah. I'm 78 years old, and my biggest holdings are Tesla with 17%, NVIDIA with 11%, and Palantir. Tesla, NVIDIA, Palantir. I think that's a hell of a portfolio.
Let's go. Can you give a shout out to the son of Walkley?
Is this the real son of Walkley?
This is the guy who, apparently he bought a 414, and then
is this the bot account of son of Walkley, or this? Because if it's the real one, I'm humbled that he is in.
No, that's the real one. That's the real one. I told him to come on.
Oh, you know him?
Yeah. Well, I don't know him personally, but he did reach out, and he is a fellow Canadian. So yeah, there we go.
I love it, Son of Walkley. No, I know Son of Walkley. He's infamous for going all in at 414. So
That guy's hilarious, man.
okay, tell me what actually 10x's or 20x's this company. I mean, I think you think it can get to a $5 trillion market cap.
Yeah.
I don't really see that anytime soon. What really has to happen before they can get to that $10 trillion market cap?
FSD. I know it's very vague right now on how that's going to be, but they did roll out version 12, and that thing's looking good. But it's going to be FSD. FSD is the only thing that can really take the company profits to whole new levels. There's energy as well, and that's growing. That will help as well. But it's going to be the full self-driving, because think about it. All right, by the year of, let's say, 2026, so 2 years from now, Tesla will have about, let's say, about 8-9 million vehicles all around the world.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say FSD comes to a point, because here's the thing with FSD, it's never going to be solved. Just like how human drivers, they don't know how to drive.
Right.
Right? So it's never going to be solved. However, though, if the data comes out and shows that, hey, it's 10 times safer, it can bring, let's say if there's 1 million deaths in a year from vehicles, it can bring it down to maybe below 100,000. This data, and it's safer and better to drive. It's more reliable to drive than human beings. If this data comes out and shows this and proves it to the governments that this is the case, it'll be a no-brainer for them to go like, so why would we allow so many deaths when this thing can save lives? It's more reliable, it's more safe.
Right.
So with that being said,
but how quick do you think FSD is actually coming? Like, do you really think in the next year and a half we're gonna have cars that I'll be happy to let my mom, when she's getting picked up from the airport, just drive in and I have no problem?
That's already happening, isn't it? Well,
I mean, it's happening in San Francisco with Cruise, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's
well, Cruise is now finished, but I mean, well, I mean, it's happening with Waymo. Well, what the problem with Waymo? It's not scalable. With Tesla, it is. And I don't know if you watched whole Mars catalog video. He's the one that has, the version 12. I've never sat in a Tesla with full self driving, because in Canada we don't have that. We only have the autopilot, and that thing is amazing. When I go back in town, I always rent out a Tesla and I use that thing, and it's an awesome software to use, awesome thing to use when you're on the highways. But for full self driving, when I look at whole Mars, and I'm just like, if this could be the case for the entire country, then that is record. That is breaking.
But that's my question. Do you think the AI gets sophisticated enough throughout the entire country? Let's just talk about United States, forget the rest of the world, where people are willing to pay that $200 a month subscription or whatever to let them be driven around. Like, I don't see that happening really until 2028. And I think that's also another problem with the stock right now. Do you think that's happening sooner than later?
Well, it all comes down to how much data Tesla's collecting. And the more vehicles that Tesla has on the road, the more the data they're going to be collecting. So, seeing how, going back to the version 12, seeing how that thing is driving, and that has no codes. It's all neural nets. It's all just what the AI thinks and what it is. And it's all been programmed with videos and data.
Yeah.
Well, if we look at the chart that Q4 had on Tesla, the data is just shooting up. It's continued to grow exponentially. Every day, Tesla's collecting about 2 million of this. And the more data it has, the more it can feed to this AI for it to learn more, to get better. And we can see that with every version that comes out with full self-driving. Now we have to see, because it's still too early for version 12, if every version that comes out, 12.1, 12.2, 12.3, whatever that is, if that's going to be a better update than the previous one. Because with version 11, it wasn't the case. Some updates was worse than the other, and then some updates was was the best. So we have to see that with version 12. How I see it, if version 12 is actually the way how it is with whole Mars across the entire country, then we are in a very good spot to get this thing done. I mean, give it a couple of years. I mean, when I was talking to Farzad, he was thinking this summer, like last summer.
Farzad is very bullish.
Yeah, he's saying this summer, and I'm just like, hey, you know more than I do, because you work there and you have the car, so you know more than I do. But
do you think okay, so from FSD, do you think they can get to 20 million cars sold by 2030? Are you that bullish on?
No, I don't think Tesla will have deliveries by 2030. They would, if that, man, 20 million cars. Yeah, it's very difficult to do that. Will they eventually get there? Maybe I'll say by 20, maybe mid decade of 2030s, they will probably
Hmm.
get there. I don't,
Mm.
maybe for sure, in the valuations that I make, for sure they're going to exceed 10 million with the compact car, with the Cybertruck, with all the other models that they have, and don't forget the semi and the van. And I am 100% certain, and people keep bashing me on this, but I'm 100% certain there's going to be a cheaper version of the compact car coming out later down the line. No questions asked.
What was that laugh? That was such an evil laugh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
The bot. Okay. You didn't
Oh
mention the
God.
bot in your 10x thesis. Do you think it's a joke or did you just forget about that? Why? What are your thoughts on the
So
bot?
the bot is something that I can't wrap my head around because that is pure speculation because we have no idea how much is going to be sold for, even though with all the valuations models that we see online, we have no idea um, how it's going to be used. Well, maybe we do have an idea. Maybe it'll be. I know Elon said shipment's going to happen in 2025, but that's Elon's guess, right? Maybe he's talking about taking some bots, put in the Gigafactory in Mexico, because they were talking about that in Investor Day, where it's going to be like 20% bots and 80% humans.
Yeah.
Again, I'm. It's hard for me to boggle my to think that we're entering an age where it's going to be half humans, half robots working on the assembly line. So that for me is hard to get my head wrapped around. But when it comes to evaluating the bot, like how do you do it? Like in my valuation, I don't even put the bot because it's just
Really?
no. It's hard. It's hard to see. How do you evaluate it? Like how much are they selling it for or leasing it for? To who? How? Like how? Like I'm looking at other valuations and other guys doing it. I'm just like, but how are you getting this stuff? Like how are you certain that this is going to be the case? Like with FSD is straight. It's actually straightforward with FSD. 200 bucks a month or 100 bucks a month, whatever it's going to be. And with FSD, you got triple whammy. You got the all Teslas around the world that as soon as FSD is solved with one over-the-air update, Tesla's going to be making money overnight. It's making billions of revenue and profits overnight because it's 60% margin. Secondly, and it's a monopoly. In my opinion, Tesla is number one. It's monopoly and in scalability. And the second thing you got is the robotaxis, and then you got the licensing, which will happen afterwards.
So you would agree with Kelly here. You don't see the bot being ready in 2025 or not at like commercial scale to the point where it's making.
No, I definitely agree with that. I don't think we're going to see commercial scale by 2025. Maybe testing or pilot production in the in Mexico, Gigafactory Mexico. But
You know
I mean,
what's so
this thing is
interesting, Peggy?
advancing fast.
Your name is Curious Peggy, and I have a
Yeah.
friend of mine named Steve SoFi. That's his name in my phone. His name is Steve SoFi.
Okay.
And he was very bearish Tesla for a long time. You can look at the Seeking Alpha articles. You're just like the car company itself. He could not justify the valuation against GM, Toyota, etc. You're Curious Peggy, and he became about, I'd say 3 weeks ago, very curious about this bot. All right.
Mhm.
And now he's been selling off all these stocks to buy more Tesla. And he came on my podcast, another podcast I do, Finance Junkies, a couple days ago, and he said the bot's going to be out by early 2025, and the entire
God.
thesis for Tesla is the bot. So for someone like him, because I know he will watch this, and if he doesn't watch this, I'll make sure I send this part to him. For someone like him who was bearish Tesla for years, dude, aggressively bearish, and then in 2 weeks he sees a bot making some fucking coffee, and he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna dump everything into this thing because of the bot that's gonna come out in 2 years." What is your response to him as someone who is 99% inside of Teslas?
So here's the thing with the bot. The bot, it's meant to replace hard labor on the assembly lines, all that kind of stuff. So if I'm a company, right? Let's say I am Amazon, or maybe I am GM or Ford or whatever. It costs me a employee $50,000 a year with benefits and all that kind of stuff to pay him, right? And he's working only 8 hours a day. If I have a bot replacing him, I know that sounds pretty bad, but this is what its purpose to do. If it's going to be replacing him, he's not going to be working 8 hours a week. It's not going to be working 8 hours a week. It's going to be working 24 hours.
Yeah,
Okay, it's a robot. Maybe 18 hours because it needs to charge up or whatever it is. It's going to be working at least more than double than what a normal human being is.
Right.
So when you do the math, and you see how much savings it is for a company to have a robot that doesn't need any benefits, that doesn't need any leave, that doesn't, moan or complain or anything, and just does the work. You program it to do and just does the work. This is a massive savings for the company, and whoever is selling it, which will be Tesla, is it's 80%, it's pretty much 100% profit for it, because what are you if the machine is building the machine, if the bot is building the bot, which Elon has said it that this is going to be the case, which I would assume that that's the right way of doing it, is that there's little expense when it goes to scalability. There's
Correct.
not that much of an expense to have so many robots out there. And with that, you would have a company that's like just sending robots out with like 80% plus margins to companies that are also saving. So
But
I
you
can
just don't
see
think it's
why.
happening. You don't think it's happening soon, but you think the potential is there. But the reason
The,
you're not factoring into your valuation is because you just don't see the vision manifested, even though you see the vision long term.
I just don't know how to go by. I don't know what to go by. I mean, I'll give you another example. Let's say that there's a company that pays an engineer or pays one of those guys that does the manufacturing $50,000-$60,000 a year, and then you have a bot and they work 8 hours, 40 hours a week, right? You have a bot that will probably work 100 plus hours a week, and it'll be maybe 30,000, 35,000 plus maintenance and other things, and it's working 2 to 3 times more than that person. So when you take into effect that I'm the company, I'm going like, oh my God, this thing is working twice as much, 2.5 times more than a human being, unfortunately. And I'm saving so much and it's giving me more bang on my buck. So really, when you look at it in this way, it's like, it's a no-brainer for any company who's doing mass.
But then why aren't you factoring into the bot into your valuation then? If you're saying
Because
that,
I don't know what the leasing price would be. I don't know what it would, how much would a bot would cost.
hmm,
I would reckon it would be customizable to every single company based on how much they're paying their wages to their employees.
right,
So if they're paying $20 an hour to somebody, they'll say, okay, we'll do, and they're working 8 hours a week, and that's what, $160. They could say, okay, we could do $5 or $6 or $10 or whatever it is, and they work 2.5 times more. You're
right.
still saving like 30%. So it's. I mean, the valuations that I've seen online, that's how they take into effect. And I'm sitting here, I'm just like, I thought it's going to be a fixed cost, like 20 or 15,000
Yeah, it's
for
it's
each.
very difficult for you to try to understand and conceptualize the
Exactly.
model. No, I agree, and that's why anyone who's buying Tesla for the bot, like Steve, if you're watching Steve, you're buying it and you have no idea what the valuation would look like. But it's not the craziest bet, because if what Peggy is saying is going to happen, there's going to be money to be made, and I would imagine the
Lots of money.
valuation. I mean, what I understand is that global GDP is 100 trillion, and 50 trillion of that is labor. So it's a $50 trillion TAM.
Yeah. Oh,
And
yeah.
so if they're able to replace and even get 1 to 2, 3, 4% of
Yeah.
that, I mean, it's a massive share.
So why was Steve bearish on Tesla? I'm curious about that.
Why was he bearish before?
Yeah.
Well, the valuation made no sense in the context of other car companies. I mean, 95% of the revenue was cars.
Oh no,
He
he
was looking at
compared it to other car companies.
Well,
That's the
but
problem.
again, at the end of the, it's so funny because he compared it to other car companies and he was bearish. Now he's actually thinking of it as a robotics AI. By the way, he thinks robotaxi is bullshit. We'll talk about that in a second. But he thinks
Okay.
everything is BS except the bot. So he's done a 180 in terms of, now he thinks of it as more than a car company, a tech company. But his interpretation of that tech is a little far out. It's I think at least 5-6 years away. So
Okay,
that was his thoughts. Abhishek, thank you for being in the chat. Love this collab, guys. I follow both of you. Thank you for being here.
Let's go.
Abhishek Deep says, taking 50% growth in volume, delivery should be 30 million cars by 2030. Now, given the macro policy coming in future, 15 to 20 million is conservative estimate. Moreover, with FSD bots is just a plus. There are definitely some bulls that exist in the world when it comes to Tesla.
That's crazy. I mean, 30 million vehicles by 2030, you will need to have a car below $10,000 in order for that to reach that level, because that's insane.
Again, evil laugh. I love it. What was the next question I was going to ask you about? So robotaxis. Tell me why this is not like in a completely absurd theory that people will license out their car and it will replace Uber. Like, explain to me why this robotaxi thing makes sense.
Especially towards Tesla, right?
Yeah.
So the idea of robotaxi already exists because of Waymo and all that. It's already happening. how it's going to be played out, where Tesla owners can allow their vehicles to become robotaxis so they can make money for the owners. I'm not gonna lie, it's a bit hard for me to believe as well. I don't think Tesla will do that initially with customers. I think they will have their own fleets of doing it. Uh, I do see Uber getting really cozy with Tesla, getting very cozy with Tesla, becoming partnership with them, making deals. So I don't know if there's a future buyout in the future. Maybe Tesla will buy out Uber and
Mm.
use their fleet as maybe as robo taxis to start. I have no idea, but this idea of Tesla owners who can take their vehicles out to be robo taxis is an awesome idea, but is it realistic? This part again, just like the bot a little bit, it's hard for me to evaluate as well. But if full self driving does get solved in a way that it's just the data shows that it's just a no brainer to go for it, then I could definitely see driverless cars happening. I mean, if you go to Dubai, dude, Dubai is going to be the first country to announce full self driving. I'm going to tell you that right
Really?
now. Oh yeah, yeah. Oh, 100%. Dude, the amount of Teslas there are in Dubai, and it's a shame because we don't have any Teslas here in Kuwait, and I guess Tesla is slowly coming to this region as well because they just opened up in Qatar.
You have
But if
no
you go
Teslas
to
in Kuwait? No one has
no,
driven a Tesla?
no, well,
Wow.
there are, but they import it from UAE.
But like super rich people basically buy Teslas in Kuwait, is what you're saying.
Well, I mean, I wouldn't say super rich, but the ones who drive it that love it, they would go ahead and bring it, and it's the locals who do it, not the expats like me, because
Uh,
they would have it'd be much easier for them to bring the vehicle. Us
right.
expats are apparently are not allowed to import cars, which is just mind-boggling. But um, what was my train of thought? I lost my train of thought.
Dubai, FSD.
Yeah, Dubai. Yes, Dubai FST. I think that country is going to be the first, or that city is going to be the first country or city to make full self driving
So you think
the thing.
robo-taxis will be in Dubai first for like
Yeah, they're already advertising it. They're already advertising it.
so
It's
like you
crazy.
don't think it's crazy that like these cars will be running around with no passenger and they'll just pick you up and they'll take you to the airport and you'll be in the back seat jerking off like you don't think that's crazy at all that
No,
is going to happen.
nope. I think I am 99% sure this is going to happen within the next 5 years.
Wow.
Yeah, I think this is going to happen. Again, it all comes back to data, and the data already shows for Tesla at least that it's 5 times safer than humans driving. Give it
Right.
another, I mean, I give it another like 5 years. How many times is that going to be? And you show that to the government, they're gonna say, if that's the case, well then the risky drivers are humans now.
Right.
So
Okay.
watch.
Let me ask you this question. How do you feel about the media's treatment of Elon over the past year? I mean, we just had a Wall Street Journal article come out that said he does ketamine and drugs. We had Dan Ives, who's obviously a very big supporter, but he basically called him a child in the earnings call. And I'm not saying Dan Ives is like mainstream media or anything. I'm just saying there's a lot of noise out there. And broadly speaking, Business Insider has had hit piece after hit piece over the past couple of months, just saying this guy doesn't really care. He's obsessed with free speech on Twitter, even though he's saying potentially anti-Semitic things. He is, obsessed with illegal immigration in the United States when he should be obsessed with, building a billion-dollar company and having a fiduciary duty to shareholders. And he's high all the time. I mean, what is your response to a lot of the mainstream media criticism of the richest man of our lifetime?
So, do you agree with me that all this FUD came right after he bought X
Oh,
or Twitter?
100%. 100%.
There we go. That's the answer. That's the answer. Before all this, there was FUD, but not to the level of it is now. Like at this point, they are attacking Elon Musk. They're just like straight up. Anything that he does, he farts. Oh, he's bad. He's bad for the environment. He's not. He's not an environment. You know what I mean? Like anything this man does, the freaking media will go on it.
Why? Why do you think so?
Because
Why?
it's clicks. It's clicks, and I think they're trying. I think they see X as a threat, and I would, if I was in their shoes, I would see it as a threat. I mean, the fact that you're paying content creators for free speech. There's not. You're trying to avoid this corrupt thing that's happening, and behind, who knows what's happening behind, behind closed doors and behind curtains. And you got X coming, and Twitter was behind the biggest curtain for the Democrats. You know what I mean? So And I don't see much right wing attacking Elon Musk compared to the left wing.
Mhm.
You know, anti-Semitism, all that kind of stuff. Like, it's crazy with the amount, and it generates a lot of clicks, more money.
So you think on Twitter, he basically unleashed the floodgates in 2022 when he made a proclamation that Twitter is going to be a real town square. People thought it would go under. I actually made $1,000 bet with my friend that it would be bankrupt soon. I said it wouldn't. He said it would. And I think we have a 5-year bet, and I think I'm going to win that $1,000. But now Twitter's paying people. I mean, you got paid, I think, like $150 or something the other week. And so you're not only getting paid to tweet your ideas, you're not really getting censored to the extent that you were for the past decade on Twitter. And your argument is legacy media that thrives off clicks and advertising revenue and traffic back to their media entities. They see Twitter as a crowdsourcing platform of you, Curious Peggy, and Amit's thoughts. And because Amit and Curious Peggy don't have to get a job at Business Insider is screwed, which is why they have to defame Elon and hopefully wish for Twitter's downfall. And that's why this is all happening.
Yeah, I think that also has an element to it too. But I think it's just, I mean, I hope this statement is not true, but I think it was because maybe free speech was being suppressed in a way. Maybe that could be the reason why they're going after him, because what Elon has done, as you said, he's unleashed it. He's made it free and for anyone to come and speak their mind, whatever they want. And when it was Twitter previously, this wasn't. I mean, I never had Twitter because of, I think, for this reason. But yeah, what he has done, he has imagine the world's richest man who is trying to change the whole auto industry, which has, but is trying to change the whole auto industry into EVs. And you've got the competitors, legacy automakers, that can't make a profitable EV, and now they're coming up with FUD saying that people don't want EVs. I mean, people just want a gas car. I mean, that, and those guys used to pay Twitter to advertise all these things. Now they're not really doing as much.
Correct.
I do see the irony when it comes to advertisement, where it shows they're bashing an EV vehicle, which is mainly a Tesla, and then right after that, it's like a gas diesel truck or a gas diesel car right after, right, like literally right after. I'm just like, this is easily what's going on here.
What did you think of Elon saying "Go fuck yourself" to Bob Iger?
I think he was right. I mean, the thing was happening with man, it's sad to see it. It's happening with what's it called? Disney.
Yeah.
Man. It's not, it's I don't want to say anything that's very sensitive here, but it's not what it was like 10, 15 years ago. You know what I mean? It's not, it's clear that there's something behind the curtains behind that. I'll just say it like that. There's something behind there.
I think it's very interesting because I have become such a fan of the platform, and it's one of the most interesting platforms in the world to me, just because of the idea that you could tweet a couple things, say a couple things, just words, and it can appear in front of thousands of people. And I think one of the hindrances to Twitter's growth, I mean, you look at it for the past 10 years, valued at, I mean, the stock was basically flat. It went up for a little bit during the COVID bubble, then it came back down. And Jack Dorsey did not institute video posting. They did not have an edit button. They didn't have, like they the most basic things Elon has done in the past like 6 months. And for 10 years, that company didn't do it. So it begs the question, well, what was the company working for? And it seems like the company was not working for shareholders. They were working for their own ideological tendencies. And I think Elon ripping that is what really, because Twitter is the town square. I mean, it has the least amount of users when it comes to social media, but the most important people are on the platform, like politicians, billionaires, whatever, right? These are the people that are engaging with the platform. They're not on TikTok and Instagram all day. And so when you have the most important people that finally have a voice and that can say whatever the hell they want, I would imagine Elon's picking a very big battle against the deep state, or whatever you want to call it, that's controlling the media enterprises of the world. And that's a tough battle. You're going to get a lot of shit if you do that.
Yeah, and we're seeing leaks coming out and articles coming out that after when Elon did purchase Twitter, the Biden administration really took more of a heavier stance on him.
Right. Okay, cool. Talk to me about Tesla Energy. Why is this something that we should be bullish for? It grew 54% year over year, much better than the automotive business at 15% year over year. But it didn't really make a dent in terms of their actual revenues and profitability, right? That's more of the cars. So is energy something you think they should focus on? Lithium prices are down 80% year over year, which means it's very cheap to get that lithium. I would, if I'm Tesla, I would imagine this is a bargain to like really load up on it. How do you think about the energy business scaling?
Well, first of all, unlike the auto business, the energy business is libidinous.
What
It's
does that mean? What is that?
li-
What does that mean?
limitless.
Oh,
I
limitless.
mean,
Because I heard
yeah.
libidinous, and I was like, "Are you talking about libido? Is there something
No,
sexual here?
limitless.
Like, what are we talking about here? It's only Saturday morning, Pedgy. You didn't take me out to dinner yet. What are you doing? What are you doing?"
Come on, man.
All right, go ahead. Yeah.
No, it's limitless, because everybody needs energy. Whether I mean, our whole lives is surrounded with energy. You need to have it to live. Without it, we can't do anything. Absolutely nothing with it. So, if we're going to a world where we're going to be relying more towards the sun and the wind compared to fossil fuels, because the problem with fossil fuels is that it creates obviously a lot of pollution, but it also creates a lot of conflicts around the world. Look at Ukraine and Russia, for example, what's happening with Europe.
Right.
I mean, just Russia was like, you know what? If that's the case, shut off all the taps, and that's what they did. So what the energy does for Tesla is they have mega packs and generation. Generation is slow, because apparently it's due to interest rates. I did not know it was linked to interest rates, but apparently it's due to interest rates. But energy storage is going through the roof, and they only have one mega pack factory right now that's doing that. Second one's going to be coming online Q2 of or end of Q2 of 2024 this year.
Right.
So the more, and there's a lot of the orders are massive on this. I think it's like 2 to 3 year lead on this for the energy mega packs here. So there's a lot of Tesla investors that do sleep on this, and they shouldn't, because this if you look at the S-curve charts, the energy is a bigger business, believe it or not, than the FSD. It's a massive business. It's an absolute massive business.
Do you think they're going to try to double down on it in a year where they know automotive margins and deliveries are kind of stagnating? Like, do you think they go harder for that, or it'll take years for it to really play out?
No, I do think they're going as fast as they can. I really do think they're going fast as they can. They've already are looking for places for other mega pack factories, based on some leaks here and there. I think UK was one of them. I think India is going to be another one. I think a whole mega pack, a whole gigafactory is going to probably end up going to be in India. It's going to be at least up until maybe 2030. There's going to be like 6 to 8 mega pack factories all around the world around that time. So yeah, it's something that nobody should sleep on. It's something that it'll continue to grow. And I think Tesla's working as fast as they can to make as many mega pack factories all around the world to get this done. Now, with mega pack factories, because it's all renewable energy and storage, you don't have to really rely on any other countries or any other, fossil fuels.
Right.
So imagine how much Europe is ordering right now.
It gives you energy independence. Correct. Right.
Yeah.
The scale just has to be there for it to actually play
Yes.
out. Have you listened to Dan Ives on CNBC post earnings yet? Because I have the clip. I think it's 3 minutes. Let's react to it. It's 3 minutes. I want to get your thoughts as someone who's basically all in on the stock. Let's see what he has to say and see what you agree, disagree with.
Tesla down 12% since reporting that big Q4 earnings missed the other day. Warning of a slowdown in vehicle volume growth this year as well. Joining me now at Post 9, Wedbush's analyst Dan Ives. He was with me the other day. Just ahead of that report, he doubled down on his bullish case for that company. So he's back. Welcome back.
Great.
Did you come back today to say I was wrong?
All right, man. Look, we talked about we were dead wrong in terms of the call into the quarter. I'd almost go and say almost 25 years doing it, probably a top 5 worst call that we've had going into a quarter. We, as we talked about, that they...
That's intense, dude. Top 5 worst call. That's big words.
Yeah, because he didn't get numbers.
They didn't get numbers, yeah.
Margins. Price cuts are mostly over. And instead, It was a circus show from a conference call. They left the door open for price cuts, didn't give guidance. Musk talked about the 25% in terms of the ownership in the AI, and it went off the rails. And that's why we're here today, basically, looking at it and thinking like, okay, now what's the step forward? Put out that top 10 list, which we believe could be an inflection point to how we ultimately get higher.
Are you reassessing essentially now everything about this company going forward?
Look, we took it off top picks list because in the near term, from a catalyst perspective, no smoke and mirror. I mean, you don't have the catalyst where you could ultimately say this is going to outperform in the next 30 days, 60 days. Now, in terms of the long-term thesis, look, we remain firmly bullish because it's my view, and it goes back to similar to Netflix in 11 with the streaming. You go back to Jobs in 07 with iPhone. We've been through so many different evolutions of companies. I think view this more as an evolution into the next phase with AI, and I view the mass market vehicles sub $30,000. So we don't throw that out, but no doubt in the near term, I mean, it's been a disaster this week.
I look at you still haven't outperformed, right? So you haven't taken that. How do you fundamentally have an outperform at 1.2 trillion market cap and an outperform now that it's down to 581 billion?
Sure.
It's almost been cut in half. But how do you still have an outperform on it?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's my view that going forward, the margin story, it's going to trough. So I view like when they cut costs, you could actually start to get margin expansion 20, 30%. Then all of a sudden $5 of earnings becomes 8 to 10 when you look out the next 2 years, especially on AI. I mean, our view here is this could be the best long-term AI play out there. And that's what we talk about. I think it's ultimately going to form into some sort of holding structure from an AI perspective with Optimus, Dojo, and others that must
the
take
best
this.
AI play out there. What are you talking about in terms of automakers? You talking in total, like against Microsoft?
So I'm saying longer term, from an automotive and from where they could go with Dojo and Optimus, you could argue that longer term, this is going to turn to much more of a broader company. Now, as we've talked about, the AI revolution is led by the godfather of AI, Jensen, NVIDIA, Microsoft, everything we're seeing in tech. But for Tesla to misevaluate that this will be an AI story, this will be what I view as almost, I'll call it an air pocket, and it's more than an air pocket, but I think we are going to see at one point 2.5, 3 million vehicles per year. And at that point, Scott, we look back at this is more the opportunity of very bad bump in the road rather than the time that this is a structural, what I'd say change in the story.
Okay.
Agree with that. Small bump in the road, and overall, Tesla still will be a very exciting AI play 5 years from now.
100%. This is all short-term noise. Like, if you look at Tesla's history since IPO, just take the stock price. In fact, 2010 to 2013, flat. Then 2014 to 2019, flat. Actually, you probably lost money. But then if you held one more year, sheesh. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So the next phase that we're going to have this jump until we can get a steady upward trend is when we have this FSD solved and we don't have to worry about auto margins anymore. That's it.
Talk to me about valuation. What price do you see the company bottoming out at? Are you in the 150 kind of camp range? And when are you? I mean, I know you've been buying, but when do you really decide to buy a lot more?
So I've started dollar cost averaging heavily, like 4, 5, 6 years at a time. And I will continue to do so and more aggressively if it keeps going lower. But I think, nobody can predict the bottom, but I think, I don't think we're going to reach 100. I may be wrong, we may reach 100, I don't know. But I don't think we're going to reach there because this year is a recovery year for Tesla. So if they can continue to have a gap EPS or gap net income of around 2 billion and upwards, it's just hard to see the stock to go below 150, 140.
Right.
Just based on metrics, right?
I agree, 100%. Yeah.
So yeah, and I'm really hoping, hope's not a strategy, but I'm really hoping that energy could come and give more of a boost to Tesla, so it doesn't drop that much because the energy does give it a higher low to this.
Alex says in the chat, do you think it could be above 250 by Q3? Do you think that's possible, or do you think it's more of a flattish year?
Well, my price target is 350 for end of this year.
Oh, for
and I'm
the
not
energy
changing it.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not changing it because I do think that well, here's the thing with Tesla. It's an interest rate sensitive company. So if interest rates go down, which it will, which I do think, even if it's 1%, this will really help out with Tesla stock and consumers. So there's a higher upside.
Okay, let's talk about interest rates. First set says, how many Red Bulls did you have in it? I've had no Red Bulls this morning. I did have a caramel latte, like a basic white girl from Dunkin' Donuts, because that's what I drink. What do you drink? Do you drink coffee? Do you drink energy drinks?
No, I hate coffee.
So what do you drink in the morning to get excited? Do you just drink like Tesla
Water.
videos or something? Like, how do you get excited?
Water.
Really? You have
Yeah,
so
I
much
just-
energy, dude, and you wake up and water, and then you can make videos about Tesla. Like, that's
Yeah, it
impressive.
just comes to my mind. Oh, this, talk about this, talk about that. And then I get so overwhelmed, man, that I'm just like, I gotta go for a walk.
No, I love it, dude. I love it. And again, let me just quickly, this is Curious Pudgy's channel. I'm putting in the description. His views are going crazy. His fan base is growing. I mean, like this, I just, I really enjoy you as a content creator. I mean, these views, 32,000 views, 10,000 views. This is great. I'm so happy with the success of your channel.
Thanks for the plug, man. And everyone smash that like button. And if you guys haven't subscribed, then I don't know what you guys are doing.
Okay, so interest rates.
Yeah.
I actually flew to California. I don't know if you saw this, and I interviewed Meet
Yeah,
Kevin.
you meet Kevin. That was awesome, dude. That was absolutely awesome.
And his PP fund, his PP, is primarily rooted in the fact that Tesla has pricing power, but interest rates need to fall in order for them to really have pricing power. His bet is that Tesla and Enphase are going to dramatically grow, Enphase Solar Company, when interest rates go lower. And these will be the first stocks that have all that pent-up demand to rebound. Is that the same belief you have, that even if we get 3 to 4 cuts, which is not what Wall Street thinks like 6, that Tesla could go back to 250 just on that alone?
Yeah, I do believe the interest rate cuts are probably one of the biggest catalysts for Tesla. 100%. Not just for Tesla, but for other automotive companies. Because what's going to happen when interest rates go up? When interest rates go down. When interest rates go down, that would mean financing and leasing a car is going to be cheaper. And with all the price cuts that Tesla has made, they pretty much match what the monthly payment was 2-3 years ago when interest rates were below 2%. So when interest rates more than doubled, Tesla had to bring down prices to match that price since 2 years ago.
Correct.
So if interest rates do go down, that will mean the payment for that vehicle, for that amount, for that monthly financing or leasing will go down. Hence, it'll bring more people to the showrooms, and they'll buy more vehicles. In this case, this is how the demand for Tesla for vehicles will go even higher, because a lot of people are delaying getting a new vehicle because they just can't make the payments. And 90% plus, if not 99% of people, they finance or lease. Because no one's going to go there and pay like $50,000 or $40,000, $30,000, whatever a Tesla is right now, for a vehicle. Right. I mean, not in this stage where high interest rates are, especially in a country like Canada, where we don't have fixed rate mortgages up until 15 to 30 years. We only have it for 5 years. So as soon as interest rates do go down, we will see a natural demand coming back for this. And once this comes, Tesla will be forced to increase prices, or at least maintain them. But if interest rate cuts do go down slowly, that's a good sign, because that we're going to a soft landing. If they do go down fast, that's probably not going to be good for short term, because that means we're probably in a recession. But nonetheless, point is, interest rates go back down to 2%, maybe 3%, 2.5%, whatever. Tesla can then increase their prices. And that is very bullish for the stock, and that is very bullish for margins. That is very bullish for profits.
How did you feel that they reduced their cost of goods by almost $3,000?
That was absolutely amazing. That was absolutely flipping amazing. I didn't expect to be that much. I think aside from the free cash flow, COGS were one of the other things that I was surprised with, and I just had it in mind. There was another thing that I was surprised with to see, but if I remember, I'll bring it. I'll say it. But yeah, the COGS were amazing. The COGS went down like they continued to cut COGS, which is just amazing. And here's the thing: I am in the camp of Tesla reducing prices, but based on COGS, not based on demand. And I think we will see that once interest rates go down. Right.
No, I agree. Like, if they do cut prices on the vehicles, it would be more because of COGS, because they can still maintain their margin because costs are down.
Oh yeah.
And not necessarily because of interest rates. And I agree with you. I think, Meet Kevin is making a pretty asymmetric bet. That's like interest rates come down, maybe not asymmetric, more black or white, because he's been buying Tesla in the 200s, but it's more like if this comes down, this goes up. And it's hard for me to deny that if we do get 5 or 6 cuts, we'll see. We just got the core PCE report that came in way lower than not way lower, but enough for the market to be like, okay, we're getting down. I think CPI January is going to be really nice. Maybe we're at 3.4, maybe we get back to 3.1. We see 2.8, by maybe March, April, maybe 2.4 by like September, October. At some point, the Fed's going to be like, this is ridiculous. We can't keep these rates this high. And then it begs the question, when these interest rates do come down, maybe at 50 basis points, 100 basis points at a time, you've got to ask yourself, what stocks are really going to benefit from that? Tesla doesn't have debt. They have a crap ton of cash. And so the question becomes, if consumers want Teslas over Toyotas, then they might have a chance to win. Let me ask you a question about China. China's 32% of global auto sales, and that's 25% of Tesla's business. BYD is coming for their neck. NIO, apparently people are big fans of this company and the stock. How do you feel about Tesla and the competition? Do you think the competition is real in the context of China?
So when it comes in China, the competition in China, so BYD, and Elon did mention it before, that they are a very high competitive company to compete with. But then you got to see who are the customers for BYD and who are the customers for Tesla. So with Tesla, each vehicle in China, I think it's about like 40,000 for the Model 3, if I'm not mistaken. And for the Highland, there's a lot of demand for that right now. For BYD, well, if you're buying a car that's like $10,000 or $15,000 or even $20,000, what are you really buying? Like the
Wait,
build
BYDs
quality,
are 10 grand?
Oh yeah, some of them are like 12.5, 13,000. So if I'm on a budget, and I want a Tesla, I just can't afford a Tesla. So I go with BYD. But let me ask you this: what do you think is going to happen once the compact car comes out? I think BYD is in a more of a strangle, more of a weakness than it is with BYD and being towards Tesla.
That's why they're selling so much. They're selling like crazy because this is 10 grand. Like,
dude,
I've never heard of a car being 10 grand. That's a brand new car.
Well, there you go. And here's the thing. If you really want to compare BYD and Tesla, BYD days of supplies are only 15 to 16 days, while BYD is 65, and they have $12,000 vehicles. That should tell you a lot. So it means that people are not, for BYD, people who just want to go from A to B and don't want to spend a lot of money on a vehicle. $12,000, great. But with Tesla, you're getting quality. You're not buying, dude. You've driven a Tesla, right? You've sat in a Tesla. It's not a car, dude. It's not a car. It's a flipping robot. It's a robot.
It's amazing.
It's something else. You're paying for something that is reliable, durable. I bet you the guys who bought BYD that's like $12,000, 2 years later it breaks down.
Yeah, dude, I would never trust a $12,000 car unless it's a used car and I'm buying it because I'm broke or something. It's like,
exactly. And what do you think is going to happen once the compact car comes out? That's why everyone is like just eager for this thing to come out, and we'll see how this thing is going to kick ass. It's going to be absolutely insane.
Okay, Cybertruck.
Mm-hmm.
What are your general thoughts on this? Obviously it's an amazing car. They have a crap ton of demand, but it's going to take a while, as Elon said, for it to get the free cash flow positive. What is your assumption of the Cybertruck in the context of your valuation model?
So Cybertruck, long term, if they said 250,000 is going to be the limit of them producing, I don't think that's realistic. I think it's going to be more than that, because if you got 2 million pre-orders, that's 8 years to go through all the reservations and then new customers. So I do think they're going to increase it to maybe like 500,000, at least 40 years, right? But the Cybertruck is very bullish for Tesla. Trucks are mainly high profit and high margins. So I could imagine once this thing is scaled, Tesla's going to make a lot of money on this truck alone. I think when I was doing the valuation, if it's 250,000 vehicles and it's an average price of, let's say,
80K,
I don't know,
85, something like that.
Yeah, let's put 75,000 to be conservative. And what margin would you give that? I don't know, 20%?
Let's do 20%. Yeah, it's okay.
20%. That's about almost $4 billion in just gross, right? Let's say 50% of that is cost, whatever it is. $2 billion a year just from a flipping truck. Unheard of. Crazy. Like, that's insane. So
Yeah, you know,
Very bullish.
Ford shut down production of their Lightning F-150. Not shut down, but they reduced some of the production a couple days ago. And some analysts pointed to the fact that is a lack of EV demand that exists in the world for Ford to be able to do that. Then you had Hertz that got rid of 20,000 Teslas. They were like, yo, people don't want these EVs. They want the gas guzzlers. They don't want this high-tech, stuff. But they bought 100,000 of them in 2021. Do you feel there's an EV demand bubble? Or do you think it is a bubble, but not for Tesla? Because Tesla does have the demand.
So that's a good question. My overall thesis is that the future is EVs. The future is EVs. The way how Hertz and the media was talking about how Hertz was dumped, and the CEO did come out and talk about it. They said, like, look, the future is going to be EVs. We thought that, the best vehicle, the best vehicle right now is a Tesla. We thought the best rental vehicle is going to be a Tesla, but that's not the case yet.
Correct.
And there are customers who are paying premium to drive a Tesla. So there is a market for it. But what happened is that they bought the Model 3 at a peak price, and then Tesla brought down the prices so much that now it's like so depreciated.
I didn't even think of that, dude. They bought it at the top, and now they
exactly.
Now
they bought high and they sold low. So I mean, like,
yeah, because dude, if you buy the car at the top and you have to lower the prices for people to rent it because obviously interest rates have gone up for most than 40 years, you're definitely not going to make a return on that. And then, so you think the Hertz CEO kind of came out and this is kind of a cop out why they're selling these vehicles? It's not a legitimate demand issue.
No, it's not. It's absolutely not a demand issue. It's just, every 2 years they have to sell it because or do something with it because of high mileage, and that's with any car, not just for EVs. So that was a big FUD that the whole mainstream media twisted in their benefit. And as a Tesla long-term investor, I'm just like, oh, nice, I get to buy more on the cheap,
Well, that's I'm so happy that Tesla is falling down because, like, yeah, like I have not.
Dude, I see you buying. I see you buying, man.
Well, I have 15 shares. I mean, I don't have a lot, but like I would like that to get to 100 by the end of the year, and like I would love to buy 150, 140 versus 200.
I think this year is a good year to accumulate. I think this is a good year to do it.
Okay, I had two questions left. My last question I don't want to ask yet. The question right before was going to be about this is how you're stalling. It was going to be. Damn it, I forgot what it was going to be. It was going to be. We just talked about demand. We talked about EVs. We talked about the margins. Damn it, it was a good question too. Okay, I'll see if I remember it. I'll ask you it again. Okay. So here's kind of like my core last question to you. You are a Tesla content creator, and you create a lot of content about Tesla all day. You talk about Tesla, you tweet about Tesla, you're thinking about Tesla. I mean, that is what your channel is focused on. Your channel is very successful. You've grown. Your Twitter account is growing. Oh, thank you, Dominic Webb. Dojo. Yes.
Oh, that is what I needed. Dojo.
Let's save the content creator question for last. Dude, Dominic, I owe you one. Thank you. I was
Dominic, shout out to Dominic. Yeah, he's good.
Did you see into the little beef I got in over the weekend or over the... You didn't see it. Okay. So
no, I did not.
So when Elon said, Dojo is a low probability of success, I tweeted, yo, I've never heard this before. And then Sawyer Merritt, your boy in the Tesla community, 600,000 followers, he retweeted me, and then he like put some tweet of Elon saying that, he said this before, right? Basically saying, well, Elon said it.
Oh, yeah. I see this. I saw this. Yeah.
And then all the Tesla minions came after me like, oh, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But I was in a live stream with 500 people, and all of us were confused when Elon said Dojo has a low probability. So my question to you is, how do you think of Dojo? How do you think of it in the context of valuation? How do you think of it in the context of FSD and not relying on NVIDIA? And do you feel what Elon said, even though, yes, he's been saying it's low probability for a while, do you think he harped on it a little bit more to make the Adam Jonases of the world kind of reevaluate how they've been thinking of Dojo in their valuation?
Dude, if I could be completely honest with you, man, I completely forgot about Dojo as a thing in Tesla.
That's hilarious, dude.
Because it's like okay, it makes a chip for them, and it's like supercomputers and all, but like, how would this affect the stock price long term when there's no numbers? For the Dojo, the entire thing, I don't fully understand that. Just like how I don't fully understand the bot and stuff. So with Dojo, it's like the thing that I learned in Q4 is that it's high risk, high reward. That's the only thing that I heard. I'm like, okay. I mean,
this is why I think you're being very objective about it as a shareholder, because I've talked to people like Warren Redlick that I have a lot of respect for, and he's giving me this massive bull case around Dojo. ARK put out a research report saying Dojo is a $20 trillion business on its own, and I'm like, I don't think they're getting off of NVIDIA supercomputer GPUs anytime soon. And that's the bull case. And maybe one day, it's not like Dojo's failing, but the idea that that would replace NVIDIA, which would decrease their CapEx massively and increase their margins massively. I think Elon was very sobering on the call. And he was like, you got to really think twice before that happens, right? And so to you forgot about it because you didn't even think of it in your valuation because it's not real.
No, it's just. I mean, there's so much elements in this company. It's ridiculous. It's a startup and a startup. It's just which one do you take and which one will affect the most. So I just take what I can valuate, which will be the vehicle's energy and FSD, and I just go based on that. I'll wait for the bot for more information because, and Dojo. I don't know. How would Dojo, like again? If someone in the comments could like educate me on Dojo, cool. But other than that, I just don't understand. I know Herbert talks about Dojo a lot, but I'm just like, man, I just don't understand this thing, man. I know it's supercomputers and chips and all that kind of stuff, and competes with NVIDIA a little bit, but I'm just like,
it's not a big thing to you. Yeah.
It's not a big thing at the moment. So unless something happens, but
yeah. And my beef was, I think a lot of retail investors made it a very big thing. It's like if Palantir has Foundry for crypto, it's a very small product. And I'm like, guys, this is the future. This is so big. And it's like, and and then they come out and an analyst asks them about it. Like, oh, that product, we forgot about it. And then, then as a retail investor, you have to take some flack that, hey, you've been touting this product is going to be so big. And I think a lot of retail investors over the weekend really didn't accept that responsibility around Dojo, at least in terms of how they used to, pitch it. Nonetheless, Dojo is a very amazing product, and I think it will succeed, but the probability, again, is low long term.
Yeah, just need to wait to see what else they're going to do with this thing so I can fully understand it, so that I can see how this thing can be priced into the valuation and stuff like that. So
yeah, and they did announce a $500 million Buffalo, New York.
Yeah, I saw that. So it's I know they were saying after the earnings call, people were saying that it's dead, and
yeah, I don't think it's dead. I don't think it's dead. I just don't think it's replacing NVIDIA. And remember, Adam Jonas, that was a core part of his 450 price targets. Like, hey, this thing is going to decrease CapEx.
I saw that.
And that might not be happening in the next, couple of years. It might take a long time for that to happen. Yeah. Okay. We talked about a lot of stuff, Peggy. Thank you everyone so much for joining. I got one last question for you. You have exploded as a Tesla content creator, and I love seeing it. I'm obsessed with content creation, building, growing, how you work with algorithms and how people develop a brand. You're from Kuwait, and you're just like breaching out into this whole Tesla community. And there's a lot of established big players in this name. I think this name is very saturated in terms of the media coverage. So to stand out, to have an opinion, to have a voice, it's competitive. It's not an easy thing to do. So walk me through the past year in terms of your journey creating Tesla content. What are your strategies to grow? And why do you think people are watching your videos to get Tesla coverage?
So what's funny? When I first started this Curious Peggy channel, I never thought I was going to be part of the Tesla community. I was just going to make a channel that talks about all the stocks. Mm-hmm. But then I started to learn more about Tesla, and I'm just like, man, this company is such a long term, it can change the world with all the things that they're doing. So I slowly started doing this Tesla stuff and stuff like that. As early as 2021, I think that was the year that I started doing it, and it was just like once a week kind of thing. Then until there was a massive demand, I'm just like, I never knew people really cared about this much about Tesla.
Right.
And then the more research I did it, the more obsessed I got with it a little bit. You could say, I'm like, oh, this company is just, with all the startups, it's not a car company. It's not a an auto company. It's a robot company. It's an AI.
It's an everything company. It's an ETF.
It's a robot. Yeah, it's a robot company. That's what it is. I mean, especially after the first time I drove the first Tesla, I think that's where my interest peaked even more. When I think it was a 2020 Model S Plaid. When I sat and I drove that thing, I'm like, this is not a car, dude. This is something else. This is going to change everything, and it is changing everything. So then I got more curious into the Tesla community, got into it even more. And the first interview that I did on my channel, it was Farzad. Actually, I brought him on. I'm just like a fellow Persian. I'm like, let's go, man, let's go. So I brought him on the channel as my first, and then just every other video that I start pushing out, I'm just like, no, I gotta talk about Tesla. I gotta talk about Tesla. And I started to buy more shares, and here we are today. And
now you're 99% in Tesla.
Yeah, I'm 99% in Tesla, and I think it's very important. The reason why, like you mentioned, there's a lot of big names in this community. There's a lot of people content creators that do cover Tesla, and the reason why there's a big name, it's saturated, is because there's so much FUD out there with Tesla, and God, with the amount of FUD out there, you would need a lot of people who are with the company, who are bullish, and who look at the unfud part of it and present it to the people. Like, for example, the Hertz, right? You didn't know about they bought high and they bought low, but people were like, no, man, TV is not the thing anymore. We have to sell it now, you know? No, you got to look into it.
And it's funny because when they were on CNBC, the CNBC anchor didn't even ask them the question of, hey, didn't you buy at the top? They just let them kind of say this whole EV demand narrative. They didn't
exactly. And it's all negative. It's all, I don't know why there's so much negative towards Tesla. It boggles my mind. It's like, this is an American company that if it wasn't for Tesla, you would have lost the automaking industry to freaking China.
Yeah.
So like, why are you bashing the damn thing? I don't know. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we have so many people, so many guys, so many content creators in the community trying to, like, you know, talk some sense into it and just say,
do you enjoy the audience building and the interaction with your viewers? Do you enjoy that part?
It's a lot of fun. It's honestly humbling. I never thought there was going to be this amount of people on my channel. It's pretty darn humbling.
Yeah. And I think you on Twitter as well. I mean, like, I think you're developing a real community, which is fun. That's why I wanted you on the channel, because there's a lot of Tesla content creators, but I think it's very special for someone to actually develop a community where people know you. I mean, you got people from your community asking if you're single in the chat right now.
Oh, damn. Is 99 a female? Are you a female 99?
It's like this random profile pic is asking, are you single? You're like, I have no idea how to.
Yeah, who's asking? Who's asking?
This is awesome, Pedgy.
Oh, this is
Thank
nice.
you so much for doing this. I appreciate it. Means the
I
world
appreciate it. I'm very happy to be here. Very appreciate everyone who is watching. Y'all better smash that damn like button and hit subscribe. Dude, I have a question for you, man. If you got time.
Yeah, I got it.
How the hell are you live like twice a day, dude? And still posting content? Like, dude, I think you're grinding more than I am, dude. Like, it's crazy.
It's not really about grinding more. I don't think of it like that. I think of it in the context of, you know, just from a content creator perspective. I really love this shit. Like, this is the thing I've wanted to do my whole life. And now I'm in an opportunity where I can really go all in and try to do it. And it's moments in time, right? If there's a moment in time where people actually care about what you have to say and you've captured people's attention, do you let that go, right? Do you let that slip, or do you actually take advantage of that? And it's very rare, I think, to have those opportunities. Same thing with you, right? You have a moment in time where people actually care about your thoughts and opinions. And so then the question becomes, how do you maximize that? And I think every content creator that I've talked to that is bad at content and that wants some magical strategy of how to grow, it's like, look at how many times Pedgy tweets a day. Like, there's your strategy, right?
Oh, yeah.
Like, why did Pedgy make $150? Because he's tweeting 50,000 times a day. Like, you have to put out content. And in order to put out content, you have to enjoy it, which is why you hyper focus on Tesla, because that's what you enjoy. I focus on Palantir. That's what I enjoy. And then obviously I talk about other stocks when I go live, but I just enjoy being live. I enjoy the fact there's 260 people here right now. And I enjoy the fact that we get to hopefully provide some value and entertainment to them. That to me is like, it's a dream, you know? And if you can keep building and building and building, you and I have not touched the surface of this platform's capacity. In terms of, I mean, meet Kevin at 16,000 people when he was listening to the Tesla call. I mean, just imagine that one guy can. So there's just so much room to grow, and you got to enjoy the process doing it. And here's the other thing. You know, I've met some people that are like, oh, there's only 100 people that show up. And I'm like, you ungrateful piece of shit.
Yeah.
You ungrateful piece of shit. I remember when I would go live and there's 40 people. I'm like, that's 40 fucking, imagine 40 people in your room right now. Like, you will never succeed if you don't value the fact that there's 200 people here, 40 people here. And you have to be very grateful that people are willing to give up their most precious asset, which is time, to spend with you. So that's why it's valuable.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I think one thing to note is someone like you and I, people like you and I, is that we genuinely love making videos and just love making content. I think that is probably the biggest factor. Like, for me, burnout is a thing, but it goes away within a day. And then let's go.
Yeah, dude. I talked to a friend before who said, "Oh, like, I can't do a video every day. I get burnt out." And I was just like, "You're not meant to be a content creator. If you can't produce, think about the people that go to a factory and work 10 hours a day and have to fucking do hard labor. If you can't make a video If you can't put your thoughts
Yeah.
together, you can't. I mean, yeah, you have to have some talent to do that. But if you can't just set up the camera and do, which is hard work, it's it's not as hard as building a factory, but it's intellectually draining and then having to put it out. But like if you can't do that once a day, at least, I mean, dude, you got some issues. Like this is not the job for you. Then you can't say you want to be a content creator. And I wouldn't say this 5 years ago, but 5 years later, it is hyper competitive. Everyone wants to do this. And so if you want to stand out, you got to keep going,
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, no, this is no, it's sick. It's fun. It's awesome. And I'm happy that now we can tweet and make content there.
Last question for you. You think SpaceX or Tesla is more valuable in 10 years?
Oh boy. In 10 years,
SpaceX
I
right
think
now, SpaceX is almost half of, it's at 175 billion. Tesla's at 600.
Yeah, I think in 10 years' time, if Tesla's going to be, let's say, worth around 4 or 5 trillion, I think SpaceX could be half of that. But then in the longer term, I think, well, no, then you got the bot. So I don't even know.
You think Tesla would be more valuable long term?
I think with the bot assisting SpaceX could actually be more valuable than SpaceX. Because I think there's a lot of cost that comes with SpaceX.
Yeah.
Especially if you're thinking to go to Mars. I mean, that's not going to be cheap, my man. So I mean,
but if anyone's pulling it off, Elon.
Yeah. So I think Tesla. I think Tesla will be more valuable than if the bot that will come if the bot becomes a thing. And I think how Elon is trying to do is like trying to get the bot ready so he can take it to Mars.
Right.
So let's see.
All right. That's it for us on a Saturday. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Please make sure to follow Peggy. All this stuff is in the description, Twitter and YouTube. And he'll be on the channel probably soon. We'll have you on after the next earnings, and we'll talk about it then.
Sheesh. Let's do it, man. Thanks a lot. Happy to be here. And everyone, smash that like button and subscribe if you haven't already, man.
Thank you, everybody. Love it. Have a good weekend. We'll see you guys later. Good night.
You guys.